Hello, my name's Catherine Williams and I'm the percussion lead for Surrey Arts. Welcome to the percussion family. Percussion instruments are anything that can be hit with a mallet or shook, such as marimbas, xylophones, drum kits, tambourines, triangles, vibraphones, djembes. The percussion family hosts hundreds of different instruments and many of these can be learnt through Surrey Arts. I hope you enjoy the virtual tour that you're just about to see, which includes many of the instruments that are on offer through Surrey Arts. If you're interested to learn them, please do get in touch with us and we welcome you. Bye-bye.
My name's Mike. I'm a drum kit tutor for Surrey Arts, and this is a drum kit. The drum kit is made up of various bits and pieces. This 5-piece drum kit includes 3 tom-toms, 1 snare drum, a bass drum, which I play with my right foot, and 3 cymbals, a ride cymbal, crash cymbal, and just over here, a hi-hat, which I can also play with my left foot. So this instrument requires 4-way coordination. When you first start learning the drum set, some of the first things you'll learn to play are sticking exercises called rudiments. I'm going to demonstrate 3 basic rudimental patterns for you now. The first one is called a single stroke roll, the second is a double stroke roll, and the third is a paradiddle. When you think of the drums though, however, the first thing we think about is playing drum beats, or as we call them as drummers, grooves. We're going to take a look at a few grooves right now. We're going to start off with a nice simple basic rock groove. Then we're going to try something a little bit more fancy in the style of a funk groove. We're then going to elaborate a little bit more and go into a swing kind of style and play a few jazz patterns, and then finishing up with some Latin American patterns. There is of course so much more to playing the drum kit than what has been demonstrated in this video. I do hope, however, that this has given you some inspiration and perhaps persuaded you to have a go at learning the drum set for yourself. I hope you've enjoyed this small taster. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope to see you soon.
Hello, I'm Keith from Surrey Arts, and I'm here to tell you about the most versatile drum that we play, the snare drum. Originally a military drum, it is now used in all types of music. From rock as part of the drum set, to jazz, in military music, where you can see where it gets its other name, the side drum. It is also equally at home in the orchestra as part of the percussion section. Snare drums can be made out of wood, out of metal, and come in various different sizes, though the standard width is 14 inches. So this is the snare drum. And why is it called a snare drum? Because underneath it we have wires here, which are the snares. Now their job, and you might be able to hear now, is to vibrate. So when you hit the top head, they vibrate and you hear that metallic-y sound. When you flip this switch here, you can hopefully see that the snares are now not touching the bottom head, and you won't get that snare sound, that distinctive snare sound. Sounds completely different, doesn't it? We can play the snare drum in different ways to get different sounds. The normal way is with the snares on would sound like this. We can also turn the snares off, as I mentioned earlier, by flicking this switch here. And now it sounds different. We can sustain the sound by bouncing the sticks on the drum, so you get something we call a roll. Let me show you again that with the snares on. You can also change the sound by hitting it with what we call a rim click, where we lay the stick across the rim and go like this. Or we can add something like that, with a little blue gel thing, which stops the ring and makes a much deader sound. So if it's ringing too much, you can add these and it sounds much deader, not so much ring. So there we have a quick introduction to the snare drum or side drum. I'm Keith from Surrey Arts, and I hope you found this tutorial interesting.
Hello, my name is Ben and I work for Surrey Arts as one of the drum kit and percussion tutors. In this video I'm going to give a short introduction to the electronic drum kit. This is an electronic drum kit. It has pads for the drums and cymbals, with cables connecting the cymbals and the drum pads to the box, which is called a brain. The brain produces the sounds that then go to the speaker so we can hear them, like this. Major advantage of the electronic drum kit is that you can plug in headphones. This dramatically reduces the volume and means that you can play without disturbing people nearby. The other advantage is you can make lots of different sounds on the drum kit. Have a listen to these. I hope you have enjoyed this brief introduction to the electronic drum kit.
Hello, my name is Peter, and in this video I'm going to introduce the marimba. The marimba is a tuned percussion instrument, and it is most commonly used for solo and chamber music. The keys are made from various woods, including rosewood. A xylophone also has wooden keys, but a marimba differs by its graduated bars, lower notes, and slightly longer sustain, due to the resonators. We play the marimba with mallets, which are usually wrapped around a rubber core with yarn. However, there are so many different types of mallets, all different shapes and sizes, and weights, all producing various sounds. For example, more note definition for playing passages in higher registers, or less contact noise for rolls in the lower registers. You can play the marimba with two mallets, like this, or with four mallets, like this. Three marimba players to check out are Evelyn Glennie, Keiko Abe, and Zivkovic. Hi, my name is Peter, and in this video I'm going to tell you a brief history of the marimba. The marimba is a descendant from the xylophone, developed with the idea to create more resonance and sustain to its notes. This means when played, a longer sound will be produced in comparison to a xylophone. This was achieved by the creation of resonators, which are the long tubes underneath the notes bars. The marimba was first created and very commonly used in Africa. Among tribes, the marimba was used for festivals, funerals, and as an integral part of their traditional dances. During the period of the slave trade, the African marimba was brought and later developed in America by John Deegan. Between 1910 and 1918, the first American marimba was produced with metal resonators and straight keys which were arranged chromatically, the same as the modern piano. The next development of the marimba was in the 1970s in Japan. Yamaha, a world-renowned instrument company, sought after Keiko Abe, who is arguably the most influential composer and performer for marimba, to help design their new instruments. The main change to the marimba was that the range of the instrument was stretched to make it larger, from 4 octaves to 5, therefore adding more notes. This allowed for the instrument to have lower notes, essential and standard in both solo and chamber or group music.
Hi and welcome to the xylophone. The xylophone is a tuned percussion instrument made out of wood, and it's a medium-sized instrument. This one's got 3 octaves. They can go down an extra octave as well, down to 4 octaves in total. The xylophone is a great instrument. It's really versatile and it's used across lots of different settings. You'll often see it at the very back of the orchestra, in percussion ensembles, concert bands, wind bands, and also as a solo instrument. You might have heard the xylophone in quite a famous little tune that goes like this. In orchestras, it's often used if a tune really needs to come out across the whole orchestra. And there's quite a famous xylophone excerpt from Porgy and Bess, and it shows off how fast and flamboyant you can be on a xylophone. And it goes on and on for pages and pages like that. I really love playing the xylophone because it's so much fun. You can do all sorts of it, from the little tunes we've heard already, down to kind of rag stuff, in thirds like that. And it's a really nice one to play in the orchestra because you can get all the attention on you when you're playing it. At the beginning you heard me doing a gliss, and you can do single glisses. And if you really want to make it magical, you can double that up to make a multiple gliss. The xylophone is laid out just like the other keyboard percussion instruments in the same way as a piano. So down here you've got what would be the white notes on the piano, and up here these would be the black notes, which is why it works particularly well for those glisses. That's just a C major scale. If you go up to the black notes, you can get a really nice pentatonic. I think the glissando, though, is my absolute favourite thing to do on a xylophone.
Hello, my name is Ben Hartley and I'm one of the percussion tutors at Surrey Arts. Today I'm going to give you a brief introduction to the Glockenspiel. The Glockenspiel is a tuned percussion instrument. Other examples of tuned percussion instruments are xylophone, marimba and vibraphone. The xylophone and marimba notes are made of wood. The vibraphone and glockenspiels are made of metal. The glockenspiel sits in the high register and is normally played with hard sticks. This gives the glockenspiel a metallic twinkling sound when played. The smaller the note, the higher the pitch. So the smallest note is high and the biggest note is low. You can do what's called a gliss on the glockenspiel, where you slide between the notes, which makes it sound quite magical. Here is a tune you may know.
Hi everyone, I'm Mark and I'd like to show you the snare drum. Let me start with showing you the different sounds you can make on the drum. So, here I've got my strainer. The strainer is on, I can also click it off, but let me put it on and the drum sounds like this. Okay, when I take it off, click, and the drum sounds like this. Completely different. Put it back on. What you also can do is play on the rim, this bit of the drum. Sounds like this. Or another sound you can make is by putting the stick on the drum head and clicking the stick on the rim. That's called rim click. Another sound you can make is by hitting the rim and the drum head at exactly the same time. It's called a rim shot. Sounds like this. Very loud. I've got a little trick because it's quite hard to hit the rim and the drum head at exactly the same time. So what I do is I put this stick flat on the rim and the drum head and I hit it with the other stick, and then you get a similar sound. So it makes it a bit easier. Okay, so when you start learning the drums, you start learning basic rhythms like these. 3, 4. Okay, and what's also important to learn is your rudiments, your technical exercises, so you exercise your wrists and your hands, like for instance single strokes. Or double strokes. Or paradiddle, funny name. Okay, so let me combine all these different exercises and sounds into a short piece. Okay, here we go. 3, 4. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.
Welcome to the timpani. These are the largest drums in the whole orchestra, and they usually sit right at the back in the middle, known as the king of the orchestra for their big sound and usually playing the bass lines. They're tuned with a pedal which you push down, which means you can do exciting things like this. And like I say, usually playing the bass line, but because of those pedals, you can have a little bit of fun and play tunes that you might recognise. You'd usually have a pair of timpani, 2, sometimes a third timpani, sometimes even a fourth or even a fifth timpani. There are some pieces which are even written for up to 12 timpani, so you have lots of different notes. We've heard what they can do with their tuning, but you can also play the timpani in lots of different ways. So you'll see sometimes timpanists playing a note and then covering it, and this is called dampening. It stops the sound from going on too long. That's quite different to quite a lot of other instruments in the percussion family, which usually have quite a short sustain. So with the timpani, what's lovely is that you can play a note and it keeps going for ages and ages and ages. But you can also play them with really short notes. Fast and also quiet notes. Say my favourite thing is definitely that glissando we heard earlier on.